Though I do have quite possibly the most aggressive form of cancer that exists, according to the doctors that I have, I really have remained essentially stable. I was to some extent self-treating for pancreatic cancer, yet though I was getting some good information on the internet about different procedures and treatments and things of that nature, I was really a little bit unsure of myself in terms of what I was doing, and I felt as though I needed to get some extra guidance. And I got a good recommendation from another doctor who also happens to be a friend of Dr. Moreno. So I came over and we got started, and I just was utterly amazed by the ability that Dr. Moreno has to analyze a circumstance, to critique the effectiveness of the medications that I had been taking. I got a lot of good affirmation, and I was very pleased with the format of how he operated. I know there's a burden here to be integrative. There's a burden here to be comprehensive in terms of what we're dealing with. It's not just the physical side or the tumor itself or whatever, but there's a real preoccupation with the entirety of an individual's life, what that might mean spiritually, emotionally, mentally, familially, as well as those treatments which can and are effectual. And happily I can say that though I do have quite possibly the most aggressive form of cancer that exists, according to the doctors that I have, I really have remained essentially stable. I'm not necessarily on a technical basis free from cancer. I'm far from that. I do have some minor negative symptoms which are not really that problematic at this point. And for the most part, I've been able to keep the cancer at bay. It hasn't really expanded. I'm not yet stage 4, which is really a miracle in and of itself, considering, again, the aggressive nature of this cancer. And so I just got a lot of affirmation. And interestingly enough, that since I do see other doctors as well, an oncologist, as well as my primary, they brought their own form of affirmation, which was really unique, but based upon some of the tools they have. And it did overlap and correspond very well with that type of analysis and support that I was getting here also with Dr. Moreno.
Again, I'm not an oncologist. What we do here is support the healing potential of the body. And Pastor Tim is a believer in God's omnipotence, omniscience, that strength, that internal strength. And so he's a very, strong believer in that. And I have to say, he was already on some stuff that I would have recommended to him. He came in and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "How'd you know about this?" And so he has a friend that was kind of guiding him, besides the internet, right?
Yeah,
you have a good friend that was
friend.
guiding you. And William Kelly was a dentist who had pancreatic cancer. I want to say he was alive in the 30s, and he pretty much lived, 40, I don't know if it was 40 or 50 years after his diagnosis, which is very rare with pancreatic cancer. And the way he did it was by using enzymes. So the pancreas is an enzymatic gland or organ in the body, and so when you take enzymes, it supports pancreatic function. And so Pastor Tim was on enzymes. We checked a few things. Again, I'm an osteopath. I could feel what's going on in the body, and so I want to make sure, especially with somebody with a prognosis like pancreatic cancer, that we're doing everything we can to maximize his healing. And Pastor Tim was compliant with taking the supplements. He was compliant with changing his diet, right? You were doing a lot of things, and then he would bring things into me that I have forgotten about. One time he said, "Hey, what do you think about LDN, low dose naltrexone? Hey, that's probably a good idea. Let's check it on you." And so again, he's very active in his healing, and I was a support, for him, and I feel grateful. He's in our community. He's served our community as a pastor, and I feel grateful to be able to give back to Pastor Tim. So it's a mutual appreciation.